Hello, my name is Cynthia Ng and you're tuned in to AWANI Review. And today I'm really excited to introduce Qarbotech, a homegrown startup making waves in the agriculture space. And their groundbreaking technology helps to boost the process of photosynthesis in crops. And this is definitely a game changer for farmers, and I'm really excited to hear more about it. I'm thrilled to have the founders of the company, Chor Chee on my far right, and Dr. Suraya Rashid with us today. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's a pleasure to have both of you.
Thank you so much, Cynthia.
I think let's start by getting to know you a bit better, because I always find it interesting to learn about the people behind the innovations first. So I'd love to hear, how did this all begin? And I understand that Dr. Suraya, you started a company back in 2018, and then Chee came in. So walk us through the process of what happened there.
Yeah, right. So I'm from University Putra, Malaysia. I have a chemical engineering background, but I specialize in nanotechnology. After many years of research, I patented a process of making a special material. This material is called quantum dots. It has many applications. However, because I'm from UPM, agriculture and plants are very close to my heart, because agriculture is the niche area for UPM. So I discovered that this material had a very unique property. It is very much like chlorophyll. It is able to interact with light. So in 2016, I wondered, would it be able to improve photosynthesis? Because photosynthesis is where chlorophyll absorbs light, and then carbon dioxide and water is converted into sugar and oxygen. And so, of course, I'm not a plant person. I'm a chemical engineer. But we're lucky because in UPM, we have Faculty of Agriculture. So it was easy to find somebody with expertise in photosynthesis. I told my co-researcher the idea, and we said, let's try it. So that's what we did. I developed this foliar spray, applied it onto plants, and we measured photosynthesis. They have an equipment to measure photosynthesis, and my co-researcher said, you know, the increase in photosynthesis was unprecedented. So that was really exciting for me, and that is how the idea developed. And after that, I developed the initial product, but I could only I was only able to do home gardening, to explore home gardening, and that's what I did.
That's how he came in.
Yes, and then, but our bigger aim was, of course, for agriculture, and so when Chee came, he was able to pursue that.
So Chee, you have a very interesting background. You're an aircraft maintenance engineer, and how did you end up, meeting Dr. Suraya and being part of the business?
Yeah, so during the pandemic, I took a career break and I did my MBA with Asia School of Business. And that was where I met Dr. Suraya through an academic collaboration between Asia School of Business with UPM. So we work on a mini assignment. Actually, it's one of the subject assignment. And I think we could really work well. The synergy was great. I mean, the chemistry is also very, very good. So I was really attracted by the technology itself, because I grew up as an asthmatic child. And when Dr. Suraya told me about the potential of what she developed could actually help plants to remove more CO2 from the air and generate more oxygen for us to breathe, I thought that was really interesting. It's like my personal, like the true calling of myself. Yeah, so then I still remember in May 2021, Dr. Suraya invited me to be the co-founder of Qarbotech and the CEO of Qarbotech, and immediately I said yes, because I see huge potential in the technology and, of course, her prior work in the research and the development.
At what point during that journey of yours did you feel like, okay, this was something that worked and we could potentially commercialize and help farmers as well?
So our first project together was a competition. I had always wanted to join this competition. It's called Tech Planter by Leave a Nest. Leave a Nest is from Japan originally. They are, the founding team is from university as well, so they really appreciate hard science and deep technology. So Tech Planter is a competition where if we have technology, then we can share what it is about. And so in 2018, I got to know about Tech Planter, but I didn't have a team yet at that time. So I was always like, oh, who's going to be my team member? I had incorporated Qarbotech as a solo founder. So when after COVID happened and things like that, it was time for Tech Planter 2021. And I was like, of course, after meeting Chee in 2020, we work well together, and I thought, wow, Chee would be the perfect person to be my co-founder. And when I asked, and he said yes, that was really exciting. So Tech Planter was our first project together, and Tech Planter Malaysia, we won, which was exciting, but we went on to win Tech Planter Asia. So that was really something meaningful because we competed with other technologies all around Southeast Asia. And when we won Asia, it was like really something that told me this had potential, you know, and people appreciate the technology. The technology is homegrown, and it has, you know, gotten international recognition. So it was something really meaningful.
Can you talk to us a bit more about the technology? I understand that it helps boost the process of photosynthesis, but just how much? And besides, you know, improving yield, what about quality? Does that help on that front as well?
Maybe I can answer that.
Yes.
Yeah. So photosynthesis is inefficient. It's an inefficient process. That would be surprising, right? It only uses about 2% of our light, from the sun. And so for many, many decades, researchers have been wanting to try and improve photosynthesis because improving photosynthesis means we can improve crop yields, for example. So in the past, people didn't know how to do that, so they focused on genetic engineering. So if you can imagine, genetic engineering is very laborious. It's, you know, so there was not really, it's not really practical. Another way is perhaps people try to use biotechnology, using enzymes and things like that to try and help the plant. Again, a bit complicated and not very practical. So what we have for the first time was quantum dots, which has similar properties to chlorophyll, and we can make it in a safe, scalable and economical manner. This is the patent actually. And so for the first time, we had a potential practical solution of helping plants improve their photosynthesis. So not only when we increase the rate of photosynthesis, not only does the plant grow healthier and faster, but from our studies as well, we have seen improvement. For example, in leafy vegetables, we see around 20% improvement in vitamin content. We see, for fruits, we see 20% improvement in sweetness. So you know, we are really
so there are benefits besides the yield as well.
Exactly.
And how big is the company? If you don't mind sharing, like how many farmers in Malaysia, for instance, are actually using your product?
So just now, Dr. Suraya mentioned about us winning the Asia final of Tech Planter. So since then, we wanted to actually validate more in the commercial field, and we are very fortunate to get our very first investment from Cocoa Singapore. So using that fund, we are able to conduct more trials, commercial field trials with different smallholder farmers in Malaysia. So we started with less than 10 farmers using our product. Then we collected more data and more data. So for now, we have about 800 farmers across Malaysia and in Indonesia who are using our product. So some are still in the field trial, but some are commercial trials, meaning the farmers are actually our paying customers.
Okay. I find your technology really intriguing because I think one challenge in the agricultural sector is that many smallholder or farmers, right, they struggle to access like modern technology. Talk about biotech, genetic engineering, all that. So I do want to get to the point where, you know, how do you help small farmers, you know, to access this technology? How easy it is for them to incorporate into their day-to-day operations?
So from our experience working, for example, with paddy farmers, somehow paddy absolutely loves the product. So from our...
Is it leafy green too? Like, does it work best on leafy greens, or how does that work?
It works for all plants which photosynthesize, so basically all plants. Okay. Yeah.
And
but
why paddy?
Just the percentage of improvement may differ from plant to plant. Paddy, it turns out that paddy's improvement after using the photosynthesis enhancer is around 30 to 60% improvement in yield. So this is really rather remarkable. So what's good about paddy is that the farmers, when they use our product, it's very practical for them. They like to add our product together with the pesticide because all the agri inputs have their own schedule. So it's very easy to incorporate because sometimes other products you have to be a bit more, they're a bit more sensitive. You can't simply add them. Maybe they're temperature dependent or there might be reaction. But our product is inert, it doesn't react, it doesn't change the properties of other agriculture inputs, and so it's very practical for the farmers to use. Farmers who spray manually can easily do that, or farmers who use drones can simply use that as well. So it really is rather a practical solution.
So 800 farmers across Malaysia and Indonesia right now. I'm sure the big plan is to scale to reach more farmers, and what's the plan? Like, how do you plan to do this?
So when we spoke to some bigger players in plantation or in farm business in the past, they wanted more data from us. And that's why we are leveraging with the smallholder community to gather more data, yield improvement data, because we believe that when the smallholders can use and can see the effectiveness of our product, the bigger plantation and the bigger farm business out there could also see the similar trend. So as we are still gathering more data, we are very confident that with all this data from smallholders, we are able to convince bigger plantation to take on the risk to use our technology in their farming.
So I would say right now it's still in the process of trying to get more validation from the market before you scale. And I think validation is what you've got quite a number of them actually in the past couple of years. You've won many awards, but I'm going to point out the very recent one. Very recently is the Future Food Awards, Asia Awards in Singapore, and I think you guys came second runner-up in the pitching competition in Abu Dhabi. Congratulations on that. I think that's fantastic recognition for Malaysia. Can you also then share your plans for the future? I know you've had some funding, received some seed funding, I think to the tune of $700,000 US, with grants from a funding round led by 500 Global.
So our current production capacity is limited to 2,000 liters a month. So with this funding from 500 Global and a grant from Khazanah, so we are able to upscale our production capacity to 100,000 a month. So we are actually preparing our pilot production plant right now. We are setting up the machineries, the equipment. So hopefully by early July, we can have that up and running. And with that, we are able to supply to more distributors across the region. For now, we are focusing Malaysia and in Indonesia, but we know that in Southeast Asia, the agriculture sector is blooming because food is something that is necessary for everyone, and the global population is also growing. So we see huge potential in agriculture. And we would like to start from Malaysia and scale across Southeast Asia. I'm
really quite curious, from the 8 to 800, how did you convince these farmers who are more accustomed to using their own methods, their own way of doing business? Did you have to go to the ground, to the paddy fields? What was that experience like?
Yeah, so we started with a very manual process. So we explained our technology, created awareness like door to door, manually. So through our personal network first. So we talked to the farmers within our reach, and we got them try, and they are amazed by the effectiveness of the product, and they shared among the communities.
And we were lucky to work with our ecosystem partners as well. So they have their, our distributors, they have their own network of farmers. So that's how we help to, reach out to more.
Do you think as entrepreneurs has been the toughest challenge so far? Let's start with Dr. Suraya, who is also, by the way, she's a chief scientist for Qarbotech. She's also a professor at UPM, and also, you know, you're doing so much, so much more, right? So talk to us about the challenges of doing this.
Yeah, I think because our technology is something new, it is not fertilizer, it is not pesticide. So educating our customers is something very important, and that's something additional that we have to do, and ensuring that as we scale up, ensuring the quality of our product, because in the early days we were making small amounts in the lab, and then as we scale, we need to really ensure our product quality, ensure that everything is according to spec. So that requires analysis and things like that. Another challenge is as we grow, we are taking up more people joining us. And so that's a challenge as well, because as a startup, we are not, you know, we need to do many things at the same time. So sometimes people might find that quite challenging. Finding, but we're quite lucky because some of our founding staff are still with us.
Yes,
yeah?
yes.
How big is the team now?
11 of us right now.
Okay.
So I would say when we were smaller, because we built like a really strong value among the teammates. So many of them are still with us right now. And when we are hiring like new employees, new staff, it's really encouraging to see how our early employees actually also sort of like assimilate the values of the founders to influence the
That's
team.
wonderful. I do want to talk about, you know, the broader state of the agri-tech ecosystem, because it seems like, you know, funding, support, maybe attention even in this sector often lags behind the broader tech or sexier, you know, sectors like, you know, fintech and all that. What are your thoughts on this? Because when we talk about agri-tech, it's so important because we have so many issues related to agriculture, you know, climate change, food security, water security. It doesn't seem that as much is happening compared to, you know, the other sectors. I just want to get your thoughts, you know, on the situation here in Malaysia.
Yeah, coming from University Putra Malaysia, where agriculture is our core research area, I do feel that we do have the opportunity. There are, we have had, I would say, quite ample of opportunities, because over the past few years, Qarbotech has been participating and winning agritech challenges, climate impact challenges. So I would say that agritech is something still very relevant to Malaysia and to everyone basically. So I feel that we have had the opportunity. Maybe Chee would like to add?
Yeah, so I would like to share maybe from the investors' perspective, because when we are pitched to quite a number of angel investors back then in late 2021, early 2022, because agritech was something still very new to the investor network in Malaysia. So we didn't receive any angel investment from Malaysian investor. So we went on to maybe like other network within our reach. We pitched to Singaporean investors and we got interest from there. So I think from the investment landscape, a lot of Malaysian investors are still like waiting and try to learn from others' experiences in agri-tech or even in biotech space. But of course, we receive good support from grant providers in Malaysia, like government agencies who are trying very hard to push agri-tech and biotech innovations.
And you guys are paving the way of sorts for the agri-tech sector. Okay, let's talk about the future innovations. Are there any new technologies in the pipeline for for Qarbotech, and what can we expect from the company in the immediate future apart from the plant that you're setting up?
Yes. So as I mentioned before, our special material, which is quantum dots, is bio-based and it has many applications. For example, I have co-researchers who have studied the application of the product for a sensor, for diagnostic sensors in healthcare, for improving the efficiency of solar cells, for improving the photosynthesis of microalgae. So in fact, there's quite a few other potential areas which Qarbotech is interested in the future. For now, we are focusing more on agriculture and ensuring that we capture this market. But in the pipeline, there will be other products there.
Yeah, so on top of that, we're actually working with a few R&D partners, some big conglomerates in Japan. So we are excited about all this opportunity that we have gotten from not only Malaysian players but overseas players. So meaning they are seeing the potential in our technology. So we are co-developing different kind of application in other sectors, and hopefully we can share more in the future.
Okay, well, now this show also takes on a personal note. Sometimes we like to know a bit more about your personal journey as well. Being entrepreneurs, of course, come with its fair share of challenges and uncertainties. So maybe share with us, perhaps some of the tough times that you've had experience, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah. So I think as founder of Qarbotech, I come from academia, and so when we have a potential product, there's two ways of commercializing. One way is we could wait for somebody else from industry to come, or the alternative way, which UPM has been encouraging, is to explore the possibility of having a spin-out company, because we have the patent. So and the researcher themselves know. The ideal way forward for such a product which other people might not know. So this is an advantage of having such a, or for me, incorporating Qarbotech. So, however, of course, I don't know business. And no matter how good your product is, if you do not have the right team, you really can't move forward. So it was in the early days, no one was good enough for me to be my partner in Qarbotech until I found Chee. And it's really been, I think Chee has been a godsend, I would say. We just meant to be together because I have the strength of understanding the technology, while Chee, he has the strength of being able to be the face of Qarbotech, going out, because I'm still in university. So that's, I think, our strength.
Okay, I think it speaks to the fact that also finding the right partner, the teammate, and to understand your strengths and weaknesses as well. What about you, Chee? I'm sure it's a big change from maintaining aircrafts and working in the aviation industry, but taking that was quite a big leap for you personally too.
Yep. So I think the aviation industry sort of like trained me as a person or as an engineer that could actually think a lot of business processes logically or rationally. So even like we are making business decisions pretty much based on data, based on processes. So I think one of the biggest challenge reflecting back is that when we were running some commercial field trials, and there are some external factors that were affecting the trial's result. For example, pest attack, flood. So all these are some factors that we didn't really anticipate. Right. And because of that, we were really low on cash flow because the trial were not completed and we were running out of cash. Yeah. So we nearly fired our staff, and thankfully at that time we met our angel investors from Singapore and received their investment, and that actually lasted us for the trial that we wanted to run. And from then, after the angel investor came in and we have gotten more data, then we took part in more accelerated program, we pitched to more investors or even VCs, and that's how we got the attention of 500 Global.
Okay, and that kind of puts you on a trajectory. That's where you are today, having that recognition for 500 Global. Okay, just one final note from both of you. I think a lot of people are quite interested in agritech. many of us are not from the agriculture background, but we see the potential. And it was very lucky, both of you found each other, to complement each other in terms of strengths and weaknesses. What advice would you give, to aspiring entrepreneurs, particularly those looking in the agri-tech space?
Yeah. So in UPM, for example, we have various technologies. So I think one of the challenges for researchers is really identifying what is the pain point for potential customers. And I think what we're lacking in academia is understanding the viewpoint of the industry, because we understand our technology, but to integrate our technology with the needs of the industry, I think there's a gap there. So if you are able to address this gap, then it will be a lot safer and a lot faster to commercialize. And I think what we are very lucky in UPM, because we have our Putra Science Park, and they are doing a lot of things through InnoHub program. There's a program called InnoHub where we get grants to do market validation. So the market validation element is important because it gives us...
So you're willing to take more risks, to
yes,
fail in a
yes,
sense,
yes. And sometimes you might need to pivot.
Yeah.
So I think there's and I think by us, I'm sharing a lot more now because I have a lot more insights. I'm doing a lot more sharing so that other potential entrepreneurs can learn from my journey. So that's been really good.
What about you?
I think it's all about understanding your customers, whether you are running an agri-tech startup or any other startup. So for us, like when we deal with paddy smallholder farmers per se, their pain points, it's very different than vegetable growers, for example. So we really need to understand from their perspective, their pain point, what it's their burning needs in terms of yield, in terms of farming. So I think all this actually gives us more insights in tweaking our product and are actually evaluating from the technology perspective, how can our product or technology be really beneficial for the farmers.
Okay. Well, I think you guys are doing wonderful things and really looking forward to all the great stuff that Qarbotech is planning to do. Thank you so much, Chee and Dr. Suraya, for joining us on AWANI Review for this episode. It's been a pleasure hearing about your journey, and best of luck to both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.